William is heartbroken as Catherine lies unaware at death's door. William stared down at Catherine's pale, still form, his heart shattering at the sight. Just hours ago, she had been full of life, laughing and chatting with him over a candlelit dinner. Now, she lay motionless on the crisp white sheets, her once rosy cheeks ashen, her breathing shallow and labored. The doctors had done all they could, but the prognosis was bleak. Catherine was slipping away, lost in an unresponsive state, unaware of William's anguished vigil at her bedside. He had already shed more tears than he thought possible, pleading with a God he wasn't sure he believed in to spare the woman he loved more than his own life. But before we continue, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will never miss out on any of our updates. How had it all gone so wrong? One minute they had been planning their future together, and the next, Catherine was fighting for her life, struck down by a virulent strain of the flu that was sweeping the region. It had progressed with terrifying speed, leaving the once vibrant woman bedridden and increasingly unresponsive. William reached out a trembling hand to brush a stray lock of hair from Catherine's forehead, his fingertips grazing her clammy skin. He fought back another wave of sobs, willing her to open her eyes, to look at him, to give him some sign that she was still there. But she remained motionless, trapped in an unnatural slumber that the doctors could not seem to break. As the hours ticked by, William's hope began to fade. The medical staff had done all they could, but the illness had ravaged Catherine's body, leaving her organs failing one by one. They spoke in hushed, somber tones about the difficult decision he might soon have to make, whether to continue the futile effort to keep her alive or to let her go peacefully. The very thought of losing Catherine was unbearable. She was his everything, his partner, his best friend, the woman he had planned to spend the rest of his life with. They had talked about getting married, having children, growing old together. Now, all of those dreams seemed to be slipping through his fingers, leaving him utterly adrift. William bent down, pressing a trembling kiss to Catherine's forehead. "Please, don't leave me," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. "I need you. I can't do this without you." He had never felt so powerless, so utterly at the mercy of forces beyond his control. All of his efforts to will Catherine back to health seemed to be for naught, as the relentless disease continued its onslaught. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the stark hospital room, William found himself wondering how he would go on if Catherine didn't make it. The thought of a future without her by his side was almost too much to bear. They had been through so much together, weathering storms and celebrating triumphs, and the idea of facing the world alone was crushing. But even as the darkness closed in, a tiny flicker of hope still burned within William's heart. Catherine was a fighter, and he refused to give up on her. He would stay by her side, holding her hand, whispering words of love and encouragement, for as long as it took. Maybe, just maybe, she would find her way back to him. Maybe the strength of his love and the force of his will could pull her back from the brink. It was a slim chance, but William clung to it with every fiber of his being. As the night wore on, William refused to leave Catherine's side, even as the medical staff urged him to get some rest. He couldn't bear the thought of her waking up alone, confused and afraid. So he remained vigilant, watching over her, praying for a miracle. And just as the first golden rays of dawn began to peek through the window, something miraculous happened. Catherine's eyes fluttered open, and she looked up at William, a faint smile playing on her lips. "You're here," she whispered, her voice barely audible. William felt a surge of joy and relief, his heart swelling with love and gratitude. "I'm here, my darling," he replied, gently squeezing her hand. "And I'm not going anywhere." In that moment, William knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Catherine was a fighter, and with his unwavering support, she would battle back to health. And when she did, they would cherish every moment, grateful for the fragility of life and the power of love to conquer even the darkest of circumstances.